school employees being cyberbullied by students, by other staff members, by parents, and the kinds of issues around that. And this advice was around friending, and it was basically saying don't friend pupils on sites where they've got access to your accounts. And the reason that it was given was because it's making the assumption that these are your personal accounts. And the second paragraph goes on to say you shouldn't not use them, but make sure you use shared spaces so that they haven't got access to direct message you or to your other information, or use social networks where none of you are operating in personal ways, and set those up professionally. Managing your own privacy and your own representation, the basic things are think before you put stuff online. It seems very obvious, but actually think about it, and don't just think about it in terms of who I'm speaking to at this immediate moment necessarily. Understand the permissions and the privacy settings of the site that you're using, and if you don't understand the permission settings, act as if everything is public. Do searches for yourself and see what's up there, and then you can get stuff taken down. It isn't impossible to get stuff taken down. We can talk about that afterwards if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to quickly race through these bits to finish up. The whole privacy thing exploded again in December with Google, with a statement from Eric Schmidt, basically saying that if you've not done anything wrong, you've not got anything to worry about in terms of privacy, and also reminding us that actually a lot of people under the Patriot Act, information could be made available to the authorities anyway, regardless of what Google do. So that wasn't very reassuring for a lot of people. And it didn't go down very well. It was actually followed by Google Buzz, which was kind of doomily advertised as bridging the gap between work and leisure, which strikes terror into the hearts of many people straight away. But what it is a social network that is situated within your email. So for the first people that went through the Google Buzzization process, what it would do is take out select contacts from your contact lists, furnish them into your social network, put them on your Google profile page if you had one, and it would also draw in your Picasa stream and your Google Reader stream, so all of the articles that you might be reading, things that you're noting from. And obviously this obviously has massive privacy implications. Harriet Jacobs, which is a pseudonym, who's a feminist and a domestic violence survivor who runs a blog, posted quite famously about it because her private Gmail account was mainly used to talk to her mum, her boyfriend, but the third person in her list that she most often talked to within Gmail was her abusive ex-husband. So all of those people were being shown certain details. What she most objected to was conversations that she'd had around annotated articles being flagged up to her ex-husband. And she also had some quite active people emailing her who were slightly psychotic blokes who didn't like her feminist blog, who were quite abusive to her, emailing her quite a lot, who also then, who were emailing an anonymous account that was sent to Gmail, who then all of a sudden found themselves within her social network on Gmail. So there's massive issues around that. And recently, Canada's Privacy Commission sent a letter from the Joint Data Protection Authorities of almost everywhere, not almost everywhere, but lots and lots of countries complaining about Google and Buzz at the moment. And that's my new social network service definition, friend. A person who one doesn't necessarily know or like or trust. It's something we need to bear in mind when we think about friending issues. Data Protection Act in this country defines sensitive information in these ways. Actually, a lot of this information you can get from people's Facebook profile feeds, and they will voluntarily fill those in and give them to you. Why this is a massive issue at the moment is because privacy in UK law is about reasonable expectation. So if we move the goalposts as a society on what reasonable expectation of privacy is, we actually have impacts on the privacy laws. And Dr. Kieran O'Hara says, as private lives are exported online, reasonable expectations are diminishing. As I said before, that Facebook has gone from being an extremely closed social network that wouldn't even allow Google to index anything to initially allowing Google to index stubs. They're actually moving further towards open. And it was actually Mark Zuckerberg, the head guy at Facebook, who said today's title, Privacy is Dead. And he's basically currently defending Facebook's march towards the more and more open. And there's been lots of stories in the news today, there will be this week, and there will be lots more today around the developers' conference about things that come out. But Mark's argument is that everybody's doing it now. It's normal. It's normal for everybody to be blogging about their personal lives. What we think of as privacy has changed socially, and Facebook is merely reflecting and supporting social changes. But actually, so Facebook has 350 million users, and it's not, and it makes its money by selling user data and selling advertising space. It's not a completely cynical proposition that actually Facebook is not reflecting changes in society. It's actually very much shaping and engaging in those changes. Okay, and so there's a couple of questions around privacy that we might want to think about. There's some evidence that some services are looking at freemium models. A freemium model is where a service is provided free, but you pay in for extras. Some services are looking at providing freemium models where the pay-in is privacy. You buy your privacy on some services. Okay. And what I'd like to just finish with, I know you'll be very glad, I'm sorry I talked too long. All right. What I'd like to finish with is that why identity is important to this is that the discussion that we're having at the moment about, oh, you've not done anything wrong, so it's okay, or this kind of freeing up thing, is that it takes into account, it works on the basis of a very normative understanding of what identities are. So those identities that it is promoting and espousing are people who are people that aren't in vulnerable situations, that are relatively secure, maybe economically secure in terms of being able to buy their own privacy and afford their own privacy. But what the risk is at the moment is this articulation and support of this one particular type of identity, this always able to be public identity, is what are we doing about the more vulnerable groups and the people that are online, and how are we supporting them? Or are we just excluding them from public spaces by saying, no, you can't come online unless you have this kind of squeaky clean, safe personality and are able to manage this identity. Okay, thanks very much.